Imagine the scene, a silent courtroom almost empty. On the defendant's bench sits the man accused of kidnapping and murdering an innocent child. Among those present is a devastated mother consumed by grief. Suddenly she rises, pulls out a hidden gun, and fires. 7 shots. The accused collapses, dead, in front of judges, lawyers, and police officers. This is not a movie scene. It is a real case that happened in Germany in 1981. The name of that mother was Marianne Bachmeier, and her story still divides opinions to this day. Was it justice or was it revenge? Marianne was born in 1950 in the city of Lübeck in northern Germany. Her childhood was far from easy. She grew up in a home marked by violence, with an alcoholic father and a distant mother. At a young age, she had children she was forced to give up for adoption. When it seemed her life was finally finding some stability, she decided to raise her youngest daughter, Anna, born in 1972, on her own. Marianne didn't have much, but she gave the girl as much love and care as she could. Anna was cheerful, well known in the neighborhood, loved to play, and had a free spirit. But her life would be brutally cut short. The man involved in the tragedy was Klaus Grabowski, who had a criminal past involving serious offenses. He had previously served time and undergone legal measures to prevent further issues. Despite this history, Grabowski was at liberty. On May 5, 1980, he invited Anna into his home under false pretenses. Later that day, a tragic outcome occurred. Grabowski admitted responsibility in a letter to his fiancée, citing fear of returning to prison as a motive. When the police came to her door to deliver the devastating news about Anna, Marianne collapsed. The pain was indescribable. In the days that followed, she could barely function. At the funeral, she played Pink Floyd songs as her final goodbye to her daughter. For her, nothing made sense anymore. Months later, in 1981, the trial of Klaus Grabowski began. For Marianne, this should have been the moment when justice would finally be served. But what she found was even more painful. In court, lawyers began questioning Marianne's life and her role as a mother, suggesting that Anna had been neglected and that Marianne was careless. It was as if, beyond losing her daughter, she was now being judged alongside the murderer. It was in this atmosphere, increasingly unbearable, that Marianne began to entertain an idea that would change everything. On March 6, 1981, during the second day of the trial, Marianne smuggled a Beretta pistol into the courtroom. When Grabowski entered, she didn't hesitate. She drew the gun and fired 7 times into his back. 6 bullets struck him. He died instantly before any official verdict could be pronounced. The courtroom erupted into chaos. Police rushed in, lawyers screamed, journalists scrambled to understand what had happened. Marianne, her hands steady, was immediately arrested. The case shook the entire country and soon reached international headlines. To many, Marianne was a hero, a mother who avenged her daughter's death after the system had failed her. To others, she had crossed a dangerous line, replacing the rule of law with personal vengeance. Germany's streets became divided. There were demonstrations of support, letters, donations to fund Marianne's legal defense. At the same time, jurists and politicians warned that her actions could set a dangerous precedent. 2 years later, in 1983, Marianne Bachmeier faced her own trial. Initially accused of murder, she was convicted of manslaughter and illegal possession of a firearm, receiving a 6-year sentence. In practice, she served only 3 years, being released in 1985. Still, during that time she lived under supervision, as she had attempted to take her own life. Once free, Marianne sought to escape the spotlight. She moved to Nigeria, married a German professor, but the marriage didn't last. Later, she went to Sicily, where she worked in a hospice, caring for terminal patients. Despite these attempts at a fresh start, the shadow of the past never left her. Her name was forever tied to that fateful day in court. In 1996, at the age of 46, Marianne received the devastating diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. Knowing she had little time left, she returned to Lübeck, the same city where everything had begun. A filmmaker friend documented her final weeks of life. Marianne died on September 17, 1996, and was buried beside her daughter Anna. The case of Marianne Bachmeier remains one of the most controversial episodes in German legal history. Was it an act of desperate love or an unthinkable crime? Justice carried out by a grieving mother or the ultimate failure of the system? Even today, nearly half a century later, the question lingers. If you were in Marianne's place, would you have done the same? And you, whose side are you on? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss more stories like this.